Welcome to the Business Building Blocks podcast, where we talk about struggles and celebrations that leaders and entrepreneurs experience on their journey to success. I'm your host, Kristina, and I'm passionate about helping you achieve massive amounts of success at work and at home. We'll talk about all things people and organizational wellness, share relatable stories, and feature insightful guests because quality people and processes are at the heart of every success story. Ready to learn, grow, and have fun? Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the Business Building Blocks podcast. I'm your host, Kristina Schmidt. Today, we're going to talk about integrating our business and our life. So I've talked a bit about that already with around the personal strategy, but I want to dig a bit deeper into why living this fully integrated life is so important. And so how it's going to help our business, how it's going to help us be a successful leader, and what that all has to do with you. So if you've listened to my last podcast, the latest episode, I was talking about this new course that I'm launching at the end of May 2024. So it's called the Cornerstone Framework, starting with success. Still kind of working on the name. So if you've noticed from some of my trending, naming is not my strength in life. So need an inventor in my life to help me come up with these wonderful names. So calling all inventors. But the idea behind it is that we are building our business and a successful instruction manual for how we're going to run and lead our teams. So run our business, lead our teams. And the big part of that is the leader as the cornerstone, but the leader being rooted in faith and bringing God into our business. So back when I was leading a large organization, I remember I was afraid I started off young. I think growing up in the US and the separation of church and state got really ingrained in my brain because I was afraid when I was working in the secular industry to wear a cross in business. And I would be like, I am Catholic. Yeah, I'm going to church, So I would be like, I wouldn't mention it at all. And to be fair, I was not as rooted in my faith as I am now. So it was scary to talk about it. And there was an element of shame in there. And this, like I had to lead these two separate lives. And so at work, I was trying to be this tough leader. I was in this automotive industry. I was just trying to fit into this world. And in my personal life, I was starting to build my faith. I was starting to explore a bit, but I was like, I felt like I was going, right, to not use a visual, but I felt like I was turning right in my personal life and turning left in my business life because they weren't coming together. And so I always talk about the importance of when we're leaders of authenticity, how important it is to just be who you are. I'll tell you another story. When I first started leading, I had just gotten this kind of operations manager role. And so I had been just trying to mimic my bosses who were all, males, mid-40s. I was, if you don't know what I look like, I'm 5 feet tall, young, I'm going to say young woman. That's a different story, how old I am. But when I was just starting out as a leader, I think I was 25. Just young, right? 25 years old, trying to lead a team of people in manufacturing on the shop floor. I was trying to mimic these 40, 50, 60 something year old men that were my bosses because I was like, well, they're tough. I should be tough. Yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. But I was not being me. So I am a lighthearted, energetic, like to laugh, always smiling sort of person. Being tough, just at a 5 foot tall sort of person, being tough, just not quite the same, right? It doesn't come across with the same effect as a large 6'7" male with a deep voice does. And so I wasn't leading like me. I didn't feel like I was being like me. And I felt like I was just putting on this persona. And one of the supervisors there, I'll never forget this. a long time ago now. But one morning I came in early and I just sat down and I kind of just was relaxing. Hey, how'd it go last night? I sat down and kind of sit Indian style in a chair. I don't know. I just was being me. And like the effectiveness of that meeting was so much better than all the times that I was trying to be someone else, trying to be that boss of mine and trying to emulate someone else. And so that was kind of the beginning of my full belief in the authenticity and integrating who we are as a leader, as a human into our leadership. But taking that even further, bringing God into your leadership. So I'm not saying that you have to talk about faith in your business. You don't have to be saying to all your clients, we serve Catholic, we're only going to serve Catholic people at this restaurant or whatever it is. Like that's not what I'm saying this is. What I'm saying it is that all of our businesses have values and all of us personally have values. Those need to be aligned. You as a leader, as a business owner, have strengths. Your team and your business need to be aligned around your strengths. When we do that, when we bring our faith in and we're fully integrating that part of it, we are just going to be that much more successful. So when we surround ourselves with a team that has strengths that are in our weaknesses, or their geniuses are where our frustrations and competencies are, when we have that around us, then we're going to be a more successful team overall, which means we're a more successful business, which means we serve our customers and clients that much better. So everybody wins. So aligning ourselves also with that faith part, it allows us to be this fully integrated person, live in our business the way we want to live in our business, and show up for our teams the way that we feel fulfilled showing up. So what does that mean for your business? How do you do that? So part of doing that is first understanding yourself, understanding your strengths. So in the course, we do that through the Working Genius. And so it's a quick way to really dig in and understand what part of work, what types of work bring you joy. So as an entrepreneur, as a new leader even, you may start doing a lot of the things, right? Like I know myself, I'm doing all my own bookkeeping type stuff. I'm doing all my own editing, which is why I don't edit podcasts. So you'll hear a lot of flubberbubs. So I apologize, but I just don't do it. But I'm doing all of that as well as course creation and delivery and all of these things because this is just where I'm at, right? And so many business owners start that way, where you're doing all the things because you have to. But eventually you will burn out. You can't do all of it. And so when you start having to add to your team, you need to add the right people with the right strengths. And when you understand what their strengths are, what their geniuses are, you can stop feeling guilty for asking them to do the things, because you know what? If you surround yourself with the right people, they will actually love the things that you hate. It's like literally the definition of one man's trash is another person's treasure, because all those little like detailed finishing, closing out all the things that I struggle with, there are people in this world that love it. So we have to let them do it. And so understanding that about yourself, it connects you. Understanding like where your faith comes in and understanding how that's going to feed into your personal direction and where you want to be and those core values, that's going to connect you. And that's going to make for just a much more successful business. So I'm going to break this down into two major sections. And so the first one I want to talk about is something called charisms. And so charisms are God-given gifts that are given from the Holy Spirit to us to be utilized to help others. And so what that means is that we have been put on this earth with specific talents and specific special gifts that God wants us to use to bring others closer to Him. and to further his message and further his vision. And so through our work, whether it's totally in the secular world or a little bit dipping our toe into faith-filled religious life, whatever it is, our work is how we're supposed to utilize these gifts. So it's in those daily things we do. So whether we work from home, we're a stay-at-home mom, we're a stay-at-home dad, we run a corporation, whatever we do. So we are intended to use these gifts. And so we first need to understand what they are. And so there are a lot of discernment. There's a lot of discernment, and there's a lot of programs that we can do to figure out which of the, I think it's 21 or 22 charisms that there are that we're meant to be using. But a very simple, quick, and easy way to get at least a bucket of it is the working genius. And so in the program, and I fully embrace this and really all of my work, but in the Cornerstone program, that's where we start. We start with the working genius because it is the first and foremost thing that where we can figure out what brings us joy and what doesn't. And so when we understand that about ourselves, and we can make sure that we're using our gifts, our God-given gifts, to use them to help others, to bring our message or our mission for our business mission and God's mission to the rest of the world. And so when we use our charisms or our geniuses, the things that we find is that it brings us joy. Others will see the fruits of it, and we just want to keep doing it and do more of it. And so when we use those to first understand it about ourselves, but then to build our team around it, now everyone in our organization is using their God-given strengths to bring work to your clients. So imagine that. This is divinely inspired work happening through your business, happening and running through your team. So of course, this is going to give you better results and bring you closer to God, hopefully making us all saints. That's the goal there, right? So that's the first part of it. So it's going to help you, everybody do the right things, everybody work in their strengths, everybody working in what they're meant to be doing. The second thing is vocation. And so we all have vocations in life as well. And so vocation is something that you're particularly called to do. So some of our vocations are to be a wife and mother. Some of our vocations are to be a priest or a deacon. Some of the vocations are to be like a working professional who is leading a large organization or a large nonprofit or running a whole bunch of volunteer positions. Like these are all parts of our vocation. And so understanding where your vocation is and what your vocation is, and then aligning your work around it, now you can be successful too, both in work and at home. Because maybe we're not all working in our vocation. Like maybe your vocation is to be a parent, but yeah, you have to support people too. So making sure that your work life supports that vocation is extremely important. And so again, I created an entire podcast around how you sort through your personal strategy and what essentially that is and what it comes down to, and what we still need to probably discern somewhat is what is that vocation, that God-given vocation as well. But when we are working in our vocation and using our charisms and our God-given gifts, when we do that together, it's just a recipe for success. And getting your whole team to operate like that, I mean, what more success could you have? Your clients will love you, right? Everybody will love your business, and this will just drive everything. So if you'd like more information on that, I have the Cornerstone Framework course coming up at the end of May. Doors will open for registration right around May 15th. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'll continue to share some information and what we're doing and why it's important through the podcast and through social media. And if you have questions, I want you to reach out. I want you to dig in and start to say, is this the right thing for me? And so we're going to have we'll have 5 training sessions. So live training sessions where I will teach you something. And then we're going to have 4 coaching sessions in the evening, because I'm going to record the training sessions, but I want everyone to be able to attend the coaching sessions live, to give you an opportunity to say, I'm struggling with this, I don't know what to do with this, and just work through some stuff. And so I'm putting them in the evening, not greatest for me, but I want to cater to what you guys need as well. And just make sure that we're there and we can answer some questions live for you. So, Cornerstone framework: align your business with God, and that's going to give you success. I look forward to talking to you on the next podcast, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and I will see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the Business Building Blocks podcast, where we talk about all things people and organizational wellness, because quality people and processes are at the heart of every successful business. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to hit the subscribe button so you know when new episodes are released. You can also follow me on Instagram at KristinaSchmidt.ca, where I share real-life tips to help in your leadership and life journey. To get one-on-one and team support with your leadership development, book a discovery call on my website at KristinaSchmidt.ca. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.